Okay. Hello class. So today we're going to study chapter 6 of class 9, that is tissues. So first of all, what are tissues? Tissues are the group of cells. Tissues are the group of cells that work together to make a function. Clear? So before going to tissues, I think your fundamentals about cells is clear. So just to be clear, cells are the structural and functional unit of a living organism. We know this very clearly. And why is it called so? Because cell is the smallest unit of life. And as we know that cells, what is the organization of a cell? Suppose this is a cell. It would have a plasma membrane or cell membrane, whatever you may say. And plant cells have cell wall, plasma membrane present both in plants and animals. What else? It has a nucleus and some other organelles that every cell contain. Now, moving on to our topic. So now, tissues, as I said, are the group of cells and same type of cells, not different, same type of cells. So they combine together to make function work. Like suppose you may say, pardon me for my handwriting, cells forms the tissue. Tissue forms organ. Organ forms organ system, and organ system contributes to form an organism. So how do we get an organism? Of course, the starting would be from a cell. Then comes the tissue. Then the organ, forming the organ system. Then lastly, an organism. As we know, we humans are also a living organism. So we have different tissues, let's say digestive system. Sorry, we have different systems, digestive system, respiratory system. So all these systems are formed by organ systems. All the systems are formed by different organs. Let's say for respiratory system, we have lungs, we have our nose. And these all organs are formed from the tissues, and tissues are ultimately formed from the cells that are the smallest structural and functional unit as we know. So now coming to tissues in plants and animals. Are they same? Have you seen any organism, any living organism? It may be a plant, it may be an animal. Have you seen them look alike other than the cubs of tiger or the dog and the puppies? They look alike, but not as much as alike as plants. That means that no, they are not same. Here they means the tissues in plants and animals. So clearly, plants and animals have different types of tissue. So today we're going to study about plant tissues primarily. So plant tissues. Before reading plant tissues, okay. So coming to plant tissues. First of all, we have meristematic tissue, or we also call them growth tissues. Why are they called so? I hope you all are comfortable in English. Otherwise, I can teach in Hindi as well as Odia too. Okay. So meristematic tissues are the growth tissues or growing tissues, whatever you may call it. So these are mostly present at the tip of the plants. Let's say this is a plant. You can see fruit. This is the root. Root hairs. So the meristematic tissues are present at the apex. I'm not using any other color, but I hope you will understand. These are the regions where the meristematic tissues are present. And though they are present at the tip, hence they're called apical meristematic tissues. I hope you're clear. You may take a look in your textbooks. Okay. So as I said, the tissues present in the tip region are called the apical meristem. This is one type. Second, we can say the types are based on where they are present, or if I may say, position. So first one is apical. Second would be lateral. Lateral means if this is the branch of a tree, these portions are the lateral portions. Lateral portion or position. And the third comes intercalary positions. That means between, in between these parts. This is called intercalary positions. So just to be clear, apical meristem at the tip of root and shoot. These the lateral regions, that is, increases the girth of the plants. And the third one increases the breadth. Hope you're clear. Now coming to permanent tissue. Permanent plant tissues. So what does permanent tissue means? Permanent, as the name suggests, they keep on growing. They keep on growing. Because when the meristematic tissue, once present at the apex of a shoot or root or whatever you may say, once that place grows, the apical meristem comes to this region. The old tissues forms the permanent tissue. Clear? Okay. So now coming to permanent tissues. So have you ever thought, as I said, the meristematic tissues, when the strip will always grow, no? So when the strip grows, the old part or the old tissue that were beforehand meristematic tissues converts into permanent tissues. Hope I'm clear? Okay. Now these permanent tissues have different types. The first one we will read is simple permanent tissues, that is SPT, if you may say. So simple permanent tissues, as the name suggests, they are structurally simple. What else? They're very loosely packed. As they're loosely packed, they have large intercellular spaces. Get my point? Suppose this is a cell. This would be another cell. This would be another cell. So, as they are loosely packed, the region between the cells or the space, they are larger. Got it? So, what are its functions? What are its functions? The mainly store food. What else? In some plants, they have chlorophyll that helps them to perform photosynthesis. Obviously, now there is an example of simple permanent tissue in aquatic plants. You're very aware of the term parenchyma or parenchymatous tissue in aquatic plants. So you may say that these tissues help them to float or give them buoyancy. Clear? Hmm. So the parenchymatous tissue that are present in aquatic plants are called parenchyma. This is an important term. Okay. Now, when we move on to the first example we learned is parenchymatous tissue. Then comes another type of tissue, that is collenchyma. Now, what does the collenchyma do? Some plants are stretchy. Suppose this is a plant part and you can bend it without it breaking. You can bend it without it breaking. That means it has stretchability. Stretchable. So this stretchability or this elasticity is provided by collenchyma. Hope you're clear. One thing I forgot to mention, that I said some tissues that stores chlorophyll, they're called chlorenchyma. So what are the tissues that we read about? One is parenchyma. The ones that store chlorophyll are called chlorenchyma. The ones that provides buoyancy are called parenchyma. And the other type or the other example we read is collenchyma that have lesser intercellular space as compared to parenchyma, but provides elasticity. Clear? You may go through this once. Now, we will come to another type of simple permanent tissue, the third one, that is sclerenchyma. I'm sorry, there is no H in sclerenchyma. Pardon. Okay. So, have you seen the husk of coconut? Suppose this is the coconut. The husk, it's very hard. Also gives protection. So, this fibrous part of coconut, that is the sclerenchyma or sclerenchymatous tissue. So, this is the kind of permanent tissue that are dead, made up of dead cells. So, what we learned about sclerenchyma, these are the fibrous tissues that are made up of dead cells, hence, they are the dead tissues. The other two, whereas that is parenchyma and collenchyma, are living tissues. And, sorry again, sclerenchyma does not have any intercellular space. That means the cell here are tightly packed without any intercellular space. Clear? These tissues are present in stems, around the vascular bundles, also in the veins of leaves. That and the sclerenchyma tissue that are present over the seed or in the seed coat protects them and provide the plant their required strength. Here, now, okay. So if you remember, I've said you that the simple permanent tissues are present beneath the epidermal tissue. Now, what are epidermal tissues? Epidermis is the outermost covering of the cell. The first layer that you see, the outermost layer, that is the epidermis. Now, you know that plants respire too. So, how do they respire? How do they respire? Through the stomatal openings. Now, if this layer would be closed, that means there is no airspace for the plant to breathe. How will they breathe? Hence, the epidermis have small openings. These small openings that contains stomata. Now, this is a very interesting topic. At least it's my favorite. So, what is stomata? This is the structure of stomata. These are called the guard cells. These surrounding cells are the subsidiary cells. And this right here is stomatal opening. So when this space opens, the air enters a plant. When this closes, there is no passage of any air. So this opening and closing of the stomata is done by guard cells. And as you saw, I drew the guard cells in a certain shape. What's that shape? Kidney bean shape or kidney shaped guard cells. Now this is a type of shape in the stomata that is present meticulously.